Is this working? I guess it is, right? Are we live? Yes. Oh my gosh, is this Mr. Goldman himself with his microphone connected on this supercomputer day?
Well, thanks for helping me out because I couldn't make myself. I mean, was really struggling with my microphone the other day. Really.
Oh, that's the London beer, right?
It was a nice weather outside. Look.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful.
It's getting really warm here. Where are you, Serge?
I'm in Saint Adele, up north from Montreal, just kind of an hour's away in the mountains. Really, in my house with my family in quarantine.
And you've been home most of the time for the last weeks.
Yeah, basically, we've been working distantly with editing and stuff like that, and just basically doing Zoom interviews, Zoom meetings, Zoom this, and I've been preparing. I'm shooting a feature film for on an 18-month period, and right now, for sure, we are stopped. So we're trying to go back in June and shoot and stuff like that. So it's kind of complicated. Every meeting at distance. And yeah, that's it.
Well, you were shooting. So how long ago was that? In March. So you were shooting in March.
Yeah, we were shooting. I think we shot till the 14th or the 15th of March, and then they shut us down. And we had a director from France who was in a honey wagon giving all of his notes and cues from a distance, with the AD also in a honey wagon because he was from France also. So they had to be in quarantine. So it was kind of bizarre. And also this film that we're shooting with live animals. We're shooting with lions and wolves and actors and actresses and stuff. And so it was kind of complicated.
Are they back to France? The director and the AD. Did they manage to go back? No.
But now they came back 2 weeks ago to live the quarantine so that they can be ready to shoot when we have authorizations from the government and insurances.
When do you think that's going to happen, Serge? In your case, or for your project, I mean, more or less.
Well, the thing is, our project is basically really interesting because we have remote cameras. We're using DJI and stuff in the run and the wheels. We're shooting with animals, so sometimes we got to put the camera in cages. So we actually have already the distance between people and stuff like that. So we're basically probably the best crew to start shooting. That's the way I see it. In this phase right now of quarantine and COVID-19. So we're trying to start on the 6th of June. So.
Yeah, what I understand. So I was reading an article like 2 days ago. There's 2 productions currently shooting, one in Iceland, one in Australia, and they are very insular by nature. So you shoot basically in one single location. So you keep your crew all together. So you travel back together to the hotel. So basically, it doesn't matter where you are. You're shooting. It's almost like you're shooting on locations. For instance, if we manage to find a project like that to be done in London, let's say a single actor on a single location, something we can do, let's say from October onwards or November, even getting a job that is in London, I think once principal photography starts, I'm not going to be allowed to come back home. I think that's the new deal, or it's the deal until we get a vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. So it's complicated. I mean, it's not really easy to see this optimistically. I mean, I know we all have to adapt. I mean, this is my profession. This is the work I choose to do. I'm not sure if I'm ready to question that. I mean, am I capable of doing anything different? I mean, should I really check the continuation of my career? I mean, but it's so early now because everything we're doing now is guessing. We're just guessing, right? And I think we all hope that in 1 year, maybe 1 year, if we get a vaccine or a treatment, we'll be back to normal somehow. But I think this is very consuming. It's just sometimes just dries your energy because, of course, as a group, as a team, as professionals around the world, we want to be able to offer guidelines and want to be able to protect ourselves and the actors. But I think things are changing daily now, and it really depends. We really depend on science to push us forward, right? Yeah.
There's hope. I mean, right now I can feel that there's more hope than like in the last month.
Yeah.
I heard studios are actually doing hotels and stuff like that to have the crew and actors stay in their lot for 40, 30, 50 days to do the movie and stuff like that.
Yep.
All of these things are solutions or short-term solutions to start back shooting, but gosh, we just want to go back to shooting. Living the set life. I mean, wow, we just love it. I love it. I mean,
but it's funny. I think we were also living in such a high pace that now because we're forced to stop and we're forced to, we're even forced to remember, our own lives and stuff we did and stuff we enjoyed doing. It's really different how you deal with your time now. So, for instance, it's interesting that just yesterday, Ben Caron, one of the director you actually met when you came, he, like 2 days ago, he called me. I could feel that he was trying to ask me something, but very kindly. So he was telling me there's this literary fair or event in the UK every year. There's a small town in England somewhere where there's more bookshops than any other small town in the UK. So every year there's this festival. And of course, it's not going to happen in 2020. So there's this Wi-Fi online version of the festival. So he was struggling to go to see Helena Bonham Carter to shoot clips of Helena and Dominic West just reciting Shakespeare, so they could put a clip together and promote books, etc., etc. So he was very kind of. I said, "Look, can I come?" I just jumped. I said, "Oh, can I come, please?" So yesterday we had a shooting day. I mean, absolutely very, very simple. Just three of us, myself, Ben, and a sound man, Helena, Dominic West, and Ali, the author of the book, keeping social distance. I mean, all shot on her garden, etc., etc. We got at Helena's by 10. We wrapped at 9. I was completely trashed. I mean, feeling like, honestly, driving back home thinking like, how could I do this every single day for 9 months? I mean, I think we're going to have to check a few things before we go back,
Yes, I agree. Anyway, crazy things. Well, just so that the people just basically know what, we were nominated, you were nominated for the ASC Awards for The Crown, and I was nominated for a movie called Sometimes a Good Kill. And I was at the ASC Awards with you, and that's where we basically met each other for the first time and talked and discussed and had a great time. I mean, and then developed this complicity of friendship. And after that, as you know, I did try to get this project going with Netflix and trying to get some interviews of on set, living the set life with a cinematographer. And we agreed and went together and shot this video. So.
And I remember it was a beautiful idea because, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think your intention was to use videos or clips like the one we're going to see to celebrate the 100th anniversary of ASC. So it wouldn't be just me, of course. It would be like, I don't know, maybe 100 DPs in shorter clips, and that's an amazing idea. So I really hope that still happens, because I'm very curious. I mean, how it's very rare for DPs to be able to watch other DPs at work. I mean, of course, I do have collaborators on the Crown. I eventually go to their sets, but it's not like watching you or, some Canadian friends working, just because of sometimes the distance and, cultural difference as well. I really want to know how they shoot in India or how they shoot in Uruguay or whatever. So it's really, really magical stuff. That's really interesting stuff. Yeah.
Basically my main idea in the first place, because being a cinematographer for the last 27 years, I mean, I figured that the only way that I could gain so much more experience in a short time was to basically go on major sets and have these interviews and following a DP, because we rarely work together as cinematographers. We rarely do go on other people's sets. And that for me was kind of the main idea, to get so much information and also to share that information with everybody.
Yeah.
The thing, and you are the kind of people like the kind of guy like I am, which we share filters, we share whatever. It was not a secret environment and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you which filter I use or which lenses." I mean, if we share our knowledge, it brings us to basically think about something else that we will have to use on another project, which
Correct.
to become better and better and better. Or else we just get stuck with our little filter, and then we just don't explore other things. And that's what I really enjoyed with you on that side.
And I always thought that we all, on the other hand, we have the privilege of working with different directors and different minds and different methodologies and different tastes, etc. And it always felt to me that it would be very beneficial for the directors to be able to watch other directors as well, watching the same for us. Another thing, a little bit more philosophical, is there's something I learned, because when you're young, I mean, you could be by nature very competitive. So you keep comparing your career and your work to other DPs, usually the same age, usually from more or less the same background. So why is he doing so well? I mean, what am I doing wrong, et cetera, et cetera. Then up to a certain point, you just realize that comparing yourself to any other DP, it doesn't take you anywhere. We all have individual careers. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different tastes. We all follow different paths. We all get to different results. So why would I keep the information? Why would I hold the information? The information is, I think, really is supposed to be shared. And especially now, I mean, it doesn't make any sense with the internet and Google and, all the tools we have to access information. So if I share my information with you, look, I really love this trick I did, a week ago. And then you ask me, oh, so what was it? I mean, and then you, of course, eventually, right after, it's going to say, wow, I did try something similar once, but it didn't work. So one subject, leads to another one, and you just learn, basically. And I think if you get stuck, I mean, if you really think you can somehow possess information or knowledge, it's just going to make you stiff and less creative, in a sense, I think. Yeah. So Serge, I can I ask you a question? Because when
Go ahead.
I saw on your, I was checking again and again your IMDb CV, and I couldn't actually see it, but I saw there's a short film that you directed recently, right?
Yes, but it's an artistic short film.
That's why I'm asking, because even on IMDb it says that it's very experimental, etc. So I'm very curious about, well, first seeing it, but also asking you if directing is something you consider doing, or it's something that appeals to you.
No, actually never. I did try this in another life. I did try sometimes to shoot commercials and as a director, but I am so bad at it. I am totally not good. I am not product oriented. I've got problems with the whatever. It's all of this organizational thing. It doesn't suit me at all. And the short film that I actually directed is something that we did a lot, kind of a ways back, but it was an experimental thing. We had models, we had a nice camera filming the models on a black screen, and I had another camera filming in a water basin with mirrors broken in pieces in the basin. And in the basin, we saw the reflection of the camera filming the models on a wide projection screen. But the main camera was filming in the water basin, filming the actors through the pieces of art. So it's a piece of art.
Right.
I will, Christina, I'm gonna, I don't have that link right now. But
so I'll ask you then, I'll ask you another question then. So by trying it and by realizing how difficult it is to be a director from conception to post, etc., and from having to deal with your crew and your cast and your producers, etc., did that make you feel more empathetic with directors in general? I mean, do you think that by realizing how hard the work is, do you protect them? Do you think your collaboration changed in any way with directors?
I always say that we are kind of the best friend of a director on a set. We are actually his right arm, and I'm always there to defend their decisions. I remember I shot a lot of films and with a director called Guy Edouin, and I was like very kind of artistic movies, but feature films and stuff. And I always kind of, encouraged him to always go all the way of what the story he wanted to say, because he also wrote the stories. And when you write the stories and you direct them, sometimes you can basically forget what the story point was because you start directing.
Yep.
Tell him, what did you want to say when you wrote this? What did you want to do and stuff? And to actually always come back to the source of the movie, which is the script. I mean, there's nothing else. The script is the best thing that we can actually talk about, and that's it. If we follow the script, I know sometimes we go like, left and right and stuff like that, but when the shit hits the fan, you have to go back to the script. And basically kind of make sure and just, I defend them. I always say I'm the guy in front of the boat, and I'll be the first one to die.
Not before shouting, right? Yeah.
No, until we go in the water, and then we'll come in the water. We'll stay cut. I think the screen sharing now.
Sorry. My shaky camera.
Okay. Ooh. Hold on, you got this?
Yep.
Screen.
We were invited on the set of The Crown. Myself and Jean-Sébastien, my cameraman, will be going on the set tomorrow and after tomorrow to see how Adriano Goldman works. This is incredible for us cinematographers who actually spend a couple of days following another cinematographer. This is a conversation between a DP and a DP. So stay with us. We are actually in London. Ciao. For more than 25 years, I've been shooting films, TV series, and commercials, trying to push the boundaries of aesthetic and techniques. In my quest of excellence, I'm meeting some of today's best cinematographers to get them to share some of their secrets for the good of all cinematographers. The Crown, a historical drama following the ascension of Queen Elizabeth II, acclaimed for its beautiful images and lavish cinematography, earning its cinematographer Adriano Goldman many awards and nominations, including an outstanding achievement in cinematography for non-commercial television at the ASC Awards. It is at Elstree Studios, located just outside London, that The Crown has set stage. Elstree is one of the world's famous studios for being the birthplace of Star Wars and the stage of films like Indiana Jones and The Shining. And as the day breaks and the crew sets up, we sneak up on the set to meet with Adriano. You know, super toys that they use on The Crown, called the Techno Cranes from Panavision. Let's go now. Let's go see the camera crew. We actually know that we're on The Crown when you actually see all the lenses identification with the Queen on it, right? We're on The Crown. We're trying to get Adriano. He's somewhere working really hard, but we'll get to him. Finally.
Well,
Adriano,
as I told you, it's really tight inside.
hey, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Nice to receive us on your set.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy and proud.
You're not nervous to have us around, right?
I mean, you know DPs don't like to be on camera, but I can... I'll do my best.
DPs, they don't like that?
To be on camera.
Oh.
No, I want to be behind the camera as much as I can.
Hold the work on stage. We've got Adriano Goldman. It's really nice to be with you, Adriano.
Likewise,
Thanks so much.
likewise. Thanks for coming all this way.
What brings an Adriano Goldman on a set like The Crown?
Going all the way back, it's funny, I remember when I saw Billy Elliot, directed by Stephen Daldry. I really remember, I've always had, even when I was just a movie buff, I always loved films that mix music and fiction. I did a couple films here in London with a producer called Mari Bat, and then she took Stephen to Rio on a first scout for a film called Trash, and then she gave me a call. Would you like to have a chat with Stephen? You mean that Stephen? The guy that did Billy Elliot? Of course I want. They didn't even have a script by then, but we had a very long conversation, and he knew about the fact that I had done City of Men in the slums in Rio, so he was really after a guy that could play with kids and, you know, knew how to, I don't know, how to shoot.
Be mobile.
Yeah, be mobile, be flexible, handheld. And then they disappeared for a couple of years, and then they called me back in 2012. I was in London, so we finally met. He went to Rio, we shot the film, we got along really well. He came back for the premiere. This is September 14, 2014. And then for some reason, I had heard he was getting involved on a high-end, high budget sort of TV show. But Netflix was kind of new. I mean, why is Stephen doing this? Why is his next, why he's taking this project instead of another feature? So he came over and said, "Are you really doing this?" He said, "Yes." So, "Can I do it?" I said, why would you want to do it? It's TV. He said, "Well, Stephen, I want to do it because if you see quality on the scripts you've been reading, and if you think this is going to be grand and interesting and exciting, I really want to do it." So he said, "Oh, if you want to do it, it's yours. I'll just call my producers and we make it work." So it was honestly as easy as that. Good thing about the Crown is the episodes are individual stories. So you're not actually telling a 10-hour story that you have to be absolutely consistent all the way through. So the episodes, they can somehow look a little bit different. But I'd say there's let's say 5, 6 rules that we should all follow. You know, the use of haze, the lenses and equipment they have to embrace anyway. After the production meeting for Block 1, we actually had something that Ben Karen called like a concept meeting. Okay. So we introduced or we presented to the newcomers frames, locations, lighting suggestions. There's a few rules about close-ups, you know, never do close-ups on wide-angle lenses, of course, you know.
But do these rules exist in written, or it's
no,
kind of a,
no? We know, for instance, that shows like Game of Thrones, those guys do have some sort of a Bible, yeah, that they present to the new directors and actors, basically.
We're in Buckingham Palace now, huh?
We are.
We are. The real green screen Buckingham Palace.
And green trucks.
And green truck. In case we see the truck.
Oh, be careful. Episode 3 on season 3. It's about, and I'm not supposed to be telling much, but anyway, it's a famous, very sad event that happened in '67, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a massive landslide on this village in Wales, and the Queen took a little too long to show up. So the episode basically tells the story about that week. So we're going to Wales in a couple of weeks for 2.5 weeks to shoot mainly exteriors. But some of the houses we scouted in Wales for the interiors are too small. And so they don't give us the option, they don't give us much room to actually move the camera inside. Although the set you're going to see, it's as small as the houses we saw. Of course, by building it, we have a little bit more flexibility and I can light them properly. Ben, am I in shot here? Maybe you introduce the call, introduce Mom, and then you see there's something on the background and you jump 180. Okay, cool. Oh, then because you're going to see her on the background.
And I saw that you have the Venice.
No, that's actually an F55.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're shooting F55.
Yes, the same cameras we used on season 1 and 2.
Okay.
Season 1 and 2 were shot on Cook Pancras, old Cook Pancras. For season 3 and 4, it felt to me that I could change or I could move ahead in time. So we're now using Zeiss Super Speeds. Okay. So they're nice. They're nice. They're
nice,
soft.
Old lenses.
Old lenses. They also deliver this nice period look. But for me, I was really trying to find something new. So, and I mean, the workflow works. I mean, Netflix demands a 4K workflow. The camera delivers a 4K. It's small, reliable, good for Steadicam work, good for crane work. So I didn't want to change the entire package. No. So we changed the lenses and we kept the cameras. Yeah. Thank you. So that's what they're trying to do now, to find a position for the kid and his mom. That's Leah. Just come in here. Leah is our stand-in, so she's playing mom for now. Still on a 25, huh? No, I do like it. Yeah.
I see you're still using smoke.
I am, yeah, when I'm allowed. But a little bit less than seasons 1 and 2.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay.
Because the thing is, there's also a specific concern about keeping it consistent, because some of the locations don't allow us to use haze. So I always have to think ahead in terms of if I'm intercutting 2 scenes, and if I have one location that doesn't allow the use of smoke and the other one does, so how do they intercut?
So there's a consistency thing.
Did you try the smoke filters, the new ones?
I did. I like them. I really do. I mean, they really make the highlights glow, which is really interesting. They kind of mimic smoke, specifically for wide shots. They really work. They really work. So I've been using glimmer glasses throughout season 1, 2, and 3. Light.
Okay, so you're using glimmer glasses?
Glimmer glasses. Well, basically glimmer glasses, but for specific locations where smoke is not allowed, the smoke filter can play, can help. I do like the glimmer glasses a lot, but they don't give us the same kind of hazy feel, no? I mean, they're really elegant and they really help me to make the highlights glow a little bit without diffusing the whole image. The smokes are a little heavier. So yeah, I use the smokes for specific locations and glimmer glasses almost like overall, almost for every single shot, yes. Different graduation depending on the lens I'm using. So if I go long, like from the 65 onwards, 65, 85, 100 mil, I just take it down to a half, and then the 50s, 40s, 35s, 25s, I usually use a full glimmer. A full one, yes.
Wow, the recipe of Adriano Goldman on the ground, eh? We have it all. That's why we're on set, Adriano. That's cool.
It could be just a little less hot, this last one. Yeah. Thanks, Leah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I saw that you are using a lot of LEDs.
I am.
And it's all DMX controlled also, which is great.
When we're on stage, especially when we're in Elstree, Gallo comes over, the DMX operator.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have more control and more, I think you gain speed, basically. And in large locations or large interiors, sometimes he also comes over when depending on the size of the scene and the size of the location. But that's kind of a little bit different from the way I was lighting seasons 1 and 2. My concern is how much light is coming from behind him. One of my main sources on seasons 1 and 2 was the HMI Octodome. That if I'm not mistaken, they have two 400 HMI bulbs inside. So, but you cannot dim them. But I'm really kind of happy to be moving on from the HMI bulbs, specifically the HMIs, to the sky panels, the Cineos that Panavision, the Panalux now build, this new Spider. So I mean, it's just so much quicker to work with them, and then you can dim them like that. And also, I'm always using additional diffusion layers. So you start on a large source. So the Octodome, I think it's like 7 foot wide. And then there's always an additional 8x silk in front of it, and eventually a 12x silk in front of the 8x. So it's like how many diffusion layers I can add. But you see, I mean, surrounding us, there's no stands on set practically, but there's lots outside. So this is very much, I think, the method and the look we've been using for The Crown. I mean, lights always coming from outside in, the real use of practical. It's actually raining inside. Can go shallower. Is that wet? Yeah, let's get there.
Cut! Good, great.
Oh, because the shoes were there.
Okay, bath next.
On the second day, we meet the crew on the streets of London as they set up under a very uncertain sky.
So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. So what's the plan today? There's a lot of rain coming up or whatever?
I think the forecast is not looking really good. It's mainly an exterior day. We're starting inside this pub. On The Crown, there's always 2 stories being told. One is the royal family, so you follow the royal family and the all the scenes we have with them, and then there's always the political side of the story and the period, and who's the prime minister and her relationship to the prime minister. So this is election day in London, and the royal family, some of the members of the royal family are kind of angry by the fact that they're not allowed to vote. So this shows Tony Armstrong-Jones appreciating an election day in London. So he stops on his way to this dinner or lunch, whatever he's about to have with the royal family. He stops and just takes pictures of, the youth. And this is a very interesting way for us on season 3 to actually show the 60s. And it's probably the first time we can embrace more modern architecture, modern design. So, and also rock and roll, the 60s, the new costumes and haircuts. So it's an interesting way to find how London was, in the mid-60s. So it's a very exciting day. It's just hopefully the weather is gonna help us. I don't think we have a plan B. I think we're gonna have to embrace the rain. I mean, hopefully, because in London it can actually help. It's not gonna be a strong storm or something that is actually really challenging or stops us shooting. Yes, yeah.
And I see that you're using the Cineons.
I am, yes. I think
your new toy of the year.
We have definitely embraced the LED sources.
Yeah.
I think last year I would probably using a few 4Ks, a few 4K HMIs. So it's funny, and diffusion. Mm-hmm. So this actually helps me.
Absolutely, it's already diffused.
Gives me speed.
Yeah.
It's a large source, already diffused. Going, also through nets and curtains. So it's very, very soft and I like the look. And also it's so easy to change color temperature. You can dim them very easily.
Paul says that he thinks that they are waterproof.
Oh yeah, that's another interesting thing to check today. Yeah. I mean, the 40 mil he was on just gave me this, so I think you should be tighter. Yeah. I mean, it's still a very hard project to shoot. I mean, it's intense. It's 150 days, so it's very tiring and long. But the communication, it just works perfectly because we know each other really well. They know my style. They know what I want. The camera operators can just always, I mean, like they just did now. I mean, they come to me and ask about what's the following setup? Should we get, ready on the crane? So there's always, I mean, they're very, very engaged to the project because, not only because, they're good professionals, but because we really enjoy working together. And I think that makes a big difference for me. I mean, it makes me feel much more relaxed, and also even under pressure, like we always are, it gives me more comfort, confidence, and actually time to be creative, because you don't actually have to think about every single stand.
No.
I mean, they know what I want. So
they become partners in what you do.
Yeah.
If you take them like partners, well, everybody's being creative and doing whatever the art you are doing because they're working.
But it's funny how by developing or by establishing a system that it almost works by itself, that also gives the DP much more freedom to actually think ahead, to actually be able to suggest more stuff to the director.
Some of these stills we're doing on main camera in terms of sort of like just finding.
Yeah. So can I try that A camera position, because that's going to give you lots. Of course, I felt that on season 2. After season 1, you have something in place to start from. But season 3 is even more interesting. I mean, I think we've been learning a lot as a team. So yeah, it's very, very different from just one single project that you come in, you establish, a few connections, shoot your film, and you might not even see that crew again. So this is really, really different. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
where's Ben?
Where's Ben? Go find Ben. The director of photography not only has to deal with all the technical elements on set, but he has to make sure that he delivers a consistent product for the post-production chain. The LUT, the lookup table, is used to give a specific look to the image generated by the camera, as a reference to make sure that everyone gets the right image throughout the post-production process. How many LUTs? One?
It's basically one LUT, yeah.
I like that idea.
We had tiny differences. I mean, we had different LUTs for different lenses last year because some of the lenses, the Cook Pancras don't match, they're too warm, so you have to take a little bit of the yellow out. I am not a technical person. I've never been technical in the very strict sense. I mean, I like to use them as tools. So that's why every project, the camera tests that I do for every project, that's how I upgrade my whatever technical knowledge by testing and trying different cameras and different lenses.
Heated debate. Let's turn over. Yeah, start over here. You start over here.
We have to adapt. Now, even on the show big like this one, there's nothing we can do about the rain. I mean, we cannot call it, you know, this. We have to just keep going. I can say I much prefer a day like this than a sunny day. I really do. I mean, it's really tricky, although in London the sun is always low, even on the summer, but you fight against, you know, continuity. You know, I'm always fighting to be backlit, so you have to, and eventually you can't, because you cannot look the opposite direction because you have modern cars. So sunny days, although I appreciate them, it's always a little bit more stressful, I'd say. I think we found an interesting solution now. So we're going to be on the camera car, on the rig, and we're going to keep a steady cam on standby. So instead of bringing tracks and dollies for the additional coverage, we're just going to jump on the steady cam. This is supposed to be, the whole thing we're shooting today is supposed to be, I'm going to say like 2 minutes long. So it's a mishmash, like Ben calls.
A mishmash,
A mishmash sequence.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, I mean, this is the end of week 6 on season 3, and it's the first time we're using a camera car.
Yep.
And the main reason, actually, to be honest, is because the actor can't ride a bike himself. And also, we've done this last year. It's amazing from the crane on a rig bike. You get shots that you would never get on a, you know, even if the actor could actually ride a bike. That gives us, you know, profiles, you can move around.
It's actually, the motorcycle is actually attached to the camera car with the techno crane. Get down. Let's leave now. They're gonna roll. We don't want to be in the shot. Oh, yeah.
Ben is very concerned or aware, or one of his main goals is to be able to, every time we go outside, it should be about scale. It should be about either, you know, we show grand locations and grand palaces, or the real London life, but it's all about showing scale, going on wide angle shots, and, you know, just showing London. And this is all good because all those buildings are period right. So even looking way more,
the background, they're all good.
Even the background is good, yes.
A little bit of this, a little bit of background there, and then finish.
Do you have a light meter in 2018?
Well, I carry a light meter on my bag. It's in my bag, but I've been using the false color and the waveform. See, and then this is the false color. So so you see, I can check my exposure there. There's also the waveform, the spot meter. You can actually drag this square and check the exposure there and the level there. Histogram. So but this is what I, you know, use the most. I mean, false color. So you see 50%, green is under 50, This gray is like, let's say, good exposure, and then you start getting your overexposure there. So yeah, usual false color exposure. I'm usually exposing my skin tone. It's around 45%
Okay.
on the waveform.
45 ain't that low, or
Well,
you like to be low, right? 'Cause you're shooting a positive image.
Differently from exposing for films,
Yes.
for film stocks. I remember always overexposing my film stocks by half stop, sometimes a full stop,
stop.
if you shoot 16 mil. My feeling with the digital cameras is that they behave better, and you get a more flexible range if you underexpose just a tiny bit.
Tell me, do you sometimes operate or not?
Not on the crown.
Not on
I
the crown.
really love operating, and I really struggle, specifically with handheld work, if I'm not operating. Honestly, I think I should be operating, or even when I have an amazing operator, the handheld work is always like, I should be doing that, I should be doing that. But
And you have a great height.
No, I struggle with my height. You can always do a little bit
Don't you wear boots or stuff?
or you can always have a thick shoulder pad.
No.
Just to say, no, I'm joking.
Because I sometimes can figure myself small. But you have a perfect height to be, because sometimes we always
Oh, you
end
think
up
so?
like this. Yes.
Well, the good thing is Ben. I really absolutely trust Ben Wilson. I think he's an amazing operator,
Oh, yeah.
and he does have an amazing taste, and he's also an amazing crew manager. So he's always thinking ahead. The Steadicam is already rigged for the next shot. So there's always this
then takes
speed
care of
thing.
all the camera department.
He does, yeah.
Ready? Coming in.
As the rain comes back, let's see the crew in action.
Good bit soggy though.
Air dust.
I love this man.
And
On the move. Love it. Love it.
well done, Johnny.
Really good. Thank you. I've got to see that.
It's funny when you get one take, one shot that excites the whole crew. It's really cool. Because it's funny because the rain, we know it's going to slow us down, and then you get to a moment with it's fun. It's really cool. It's really cool when you get the energy back up, and then you trust. Okay, I think it's going to work after all.
The day in the life of Adriano Goldman, DP on the Crown.
A wet day in my life.
We've been with you for a couple of days, and seriously, you have a wonderful crew. Everybody smiles. There's jokes everywhere. We really felt welcome. So,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
This concludes our travel in London on the set of The Crown. I would like to thank Adriano Goldman, the producers, and Netflix. See you next time.
I'm never gonna be able to praise my team enough. I miss them, and you see all of us squeezing together.
Everybody's so
Hugging,
tight everywhere.
hugging.
Yes.
Uh,
That's the
it,
thing that's everybody's gonna miss the most, I guess, from the set life. Oh boy. Well, that was
yeah, it's funny because it feels like a long time ago because I've shot season 4 already, right?
yeah.
Right after you came and etc. So, and funnily enough, although we were talking about the F-55s all the way through, there is a shot on a Venice body that was actually on the set when you came because we were testing the Venice. Uh, uh, just to be able to show or to present to my producers that there was an actual upgrade and we should be considering having the Venices for season 4. So that was a very important day when you came because I could then after that day say, look, of course we can still keep the 55s. I mean, I'm not gonna change my mind. They're still reliable. But the fact is now there's a new toy. It's an upgraded toy if you compare even to an excellent camera like the 55. So we then did season 4 that I just finished on the Venices and the super speeds. So there's a consistency in lens-wise. So the 2 first seasons were done on Cook Pancros. Seasons 3 and 4 on Zeiss super speeds. Basically, I think one of my main intentions were trying to mark visually the cast change. So when we moved from seasons 1 and 2 with Claire Foy to Olivia and Helena and Tobias, I felt that something had to change. And I admit the super speeds, I think that's so tricky to say that because I love lenses in general, but I love the super speeds. I love the size. I love the softness. I love the fact that it's a very small set. So when you convince a director to use that because of speed or because of the texture they deliver, you also reduce the number of lenses available on your set. So even creative discussions can become a little bit more focused and accurate. So I really, really love, if you compare the super speed sets to the Master Prime sets, the Master Prime, I think they have like 12 lenses, I don't know, maybe more, or even the Ultra Prime set. I promise you, I've tried to shut down my notifications. I'm so low tech. It's embarrassing. Anyway,
So now tell me what happens after season 4 for an Adriano Goldman? What's next?
Look, I think there's something I feel, especially now after watching the video, that I was somehow used to long commitments. So I did City of Man, the series in Brazil when I was really young. I did 4 seasons. Then I did a couple of series for HBO in Brazil. So jumping from feature to series seemed to be like 10, 15 years ago, a really good thing to do in Brazil to grow up in my profession. So you work with different producers for different networks and directors, etc. Then when I started my international career, let's say, I was definitely prioritizing feature films. So, and I remember even like I started on The Crown in May 15. So let's say just maybe a year earlier, I remember having a conversation with my agent, asking her, so when do you think we're going to be somehow moving back or paying more attention to this new environment, right? Netflix and Amazon and etc. And I remember her saying, I think that's going to take a while for us. I mean, there's so much more we can do, on the feature film sort of field. And then 1 year later, I committed to The Crown, and I think there was a very clear intention when we first met to deliver a filmic look to The Crown. But to get back to your point, I was definitely aiming to do a feature film after finishing on season 4, negotiating for not many, but maybe 1 or 2. There was one specifically that was supposed to be done in July. Then I thought was going to be pushed to October, and now it's going to happen on the spring. So I think now we're starting to get some feedbacks from the actors and how they feel about coming back to work, because I don't think they can be insured and they cannot wear protection. So I think that is the actual guideline. Is whatever they say, we're gonna have to adjust. So
Absolutely.
I think. So sorry, going back to your a feature film, I think would be nice. I am considering seriously coming back to the season finale, because there's only one more season now on the Crown, the fifth. I heard that Dodry is interested on taking 2 episodes, and I think Ben Karen is also coming back. There's a new cast for season 5, so there's a new period again. So it remains to me as a challenge. I mean, it really is. I mean, of course, I feel comfortable with the team and the crew, etc. But like, it's still very big. I haven't read the episodes yet. I know they're going to be very, very big, because it's supposed to be. It will be the last one. Netflix, I think, is going to push us hard to deliver something even bigger. I'm really, really, really happy with season 4. I shot 5 episodes on season 4. For the first time, I shot them in sequence. So I shot steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. So let's say the first half is shot by me on season 4. That is confirmed. It's been confirmed by Netflix that even with all the struggle, I think we'll be able to deliver the season still in 2020. It was supposed to be anyway in November. Then they might need a little bit of an adjustment on the release schedule, but I think it will be this year. There's still one episode that they might need a little bit to be able to actually lock it down. My episodes are all locked down. I'm supposed to start remote grading sessions in 2 weeks' time. So
let's say we have a couple of questions here, but are you using smoke filters? Well, yes, you are.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore. The smoke filters. Okay, on the season 4, right?
Yeah, I reduced my filter set.
Okay.
For season 4, basically because I was carrying, like I told you on the video, I carried the smoke filters for 3 seasons. And then the first ACs came to me saying, so you have used them twice in 3 seasons. So I said, no, it's fine. And also because we're moving forward or ahead period-wise in time, I think it still makes sense that the first 2 seasons were shot realistically, which is always my sort of approach, but in a more romantic way. So it is a little bit glossier than seasons 3 and 4 are. I think season 4 specifically turned a little bit more observational. I think the use of long lenses are turning into something more frequent on the Crown. So I think the first 2 seasons were really softer and a little bit more romantic, I'm going to say. I think lighting wise, I think the approach is still very much the same, but the fact that now I enjoy the difference between I'm going to say the sharp scenes, the scenes that don't have any haze, and the soft scenes where I can use haze. So I'm now actually enjoying the difference between them, because we jump so much. You know, we're using so many different sets on my episodes on season 5. I think the average is like, I don't know, maybe 35, 50 locations per episode. It's just crazy.
And you know, there's something that I was totally impressed with when I went on your set, and it's rarely do we have reshoot days planned ahead, and you guys have reshoot days planned ahead. And I remember having this discussion, and you said, well, if it doesn't work, we'll reshoot it. And I said, wow, this is incredible to have that how do you say, just having that luxury of reshooting. I mean, wow, this
yeah. It's true. I mean, it's not untrue, but also I think the fact is the first ADs we have on this show are the best. So they managed to give the directors actually more time that technically the schedule gives them. Because if we have 150 days for 10 episodes, you have 15 days per app. But because they somehow merge, because they're shot by different directors and different DPs, now the ADs managed to give the directors a couple more days in addition to the 15 days, and also a couple days ahead after they cut the episode. So they know they have some sort of a room for error. It's also true that locations are not included on the list of sets we can afford to go back. So eventually, some of the locations that we go back frequently, yes, but some of them that we know we're not going to be able to go back to, they know they have to be much more precise and go back home with, you know, a full bag of shots that they can rely on later on. I mean, when we are at Elstree, as you've been, I mean, now we have sets that, you know, are there, built forever, like the private rooms at Buckingham Palace. Those are, you know, sets that we know we need, if we need to go back to, if we need to come back to, we can. But we try very hard. I mean, it's luxury in terms of the average number of days per episode on The Crown. I think it is bigger than most of the shows, you know, have. But like, the pressure is still very big. I mean, I think if you agree with me, I think we always somehow, as GPs, as AGs, etc., we want to check the average number of pages shot by day, right? So if I know I'm going to shoot 7 pages a day, I know the sort of pace I'm going to have to work on. If I have 2.5 pages a day, that changes completely your approach and how much time you have to cover each scene on that day, etc., etc. So in that sense, The Crown is it's luxurious. I mean, we have 3.5 pages average a day, which is, you know, good. It's very good. And also another thing that the ADs really try hard is to avoid company moves during a specific day, right? So if we go to a location, we're supposed to spend the whole day there, because company moves just kill the mojo, kill 2 hours of your day, and you're always, you're behind even before the day started.
There's a question here with the smoke filters. I mean, how will we use the smoke if we cannot use smoke anymore? There's this thing with the union saying that smoke will not be used anymore on set because of the COVID-19 and all of the disease and stuff. But I mean, I can answer to that thing. I mean, smoke filters do not basically create smoke unless you have little white areas in the background. But if you have too much of white areas, it just creates artifacts. So
Correct.
You really have to very, very be careful with the smoke filters. But I don't think nothing will replace smoke unless you probably CG it, or I don't know. It will never look in it with the light rays and everything. It will never.
Yeah, it's a matter of depth, right? Because actually smoke, it's physically there and covers the entire space, and the filter is just one flat layer over your lens.
Overlay.
I can live without smoke. I mean, of course, I've been using it for, you know, The Crown a lot, but I can move on. I think we're gonna also have to apply common sense. I think we are at right now, I'm gonna say, the stage we're in now, it's panic mode. We don't know the answers, and we have to accommodate to ensure to make other people, let's say, the sensation or the feeling of safety needs to be very, very high. But we also know this is like, there's also a big part of this illusion of safety. It's like wearing seatbelts on an airplane. I mean, it's good if it's just a bump.
But like if it's a real, so you need that. It's like yesterday I bought a coffee on a pret-a-manger here in London, and there's a plexiglass now between me and the guy
everywhere.
across the till. But on the plexiglass there's a huge window. And then I said, look, why do we need this? And then he gives me the cup. I grab the cup from his hand and walk away. So why do we need the plexiglass if I'm going to touch the cup and your hand? So I mean, we need a couple more months to be able to go back and apply common sense as well, not only
Like right now I'm shooting, like we're prepping the feature that I'm still continuing to shoot, and we've been shooting with the Arri Mini, with the Master Primes anamorphics and everything. I mean, the super lenses. And since we are into another kind of, I'm not going to say episode, but actually in time, we have moved in time, I have decided that it would be better off for the whole production if we had Zooms. Because with the Zooms, we will actually work faster and easier, and we'll have less people or intervention on the lenses and stuff like that. So it's in, I guess these things, they become also they become our responsibility also to basically see how we can help the sets live again. And like this, for me, it's going to be easier if we have Zooms. Okay, for sure, they're not going to be Master Primes anamorphic lenses, and we'll have to go spherical and cut in the 235 because I'm not going to use this big anamorphic zoom lens on a Ronin or whatever. So we'll use the Fujinon lenses and stuff like that. But then again, it's a compromise. But the compromise is what? The compromise is to have more shots in this situation of time where we're going to be stuck. I mean, the crews will go in, the technicians will go in, the grips, the electrics, and then whatever, the camera, and then the actors, and then it's everything is going to be complicated. It's going to take so much time.
For 1 year. For 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we are now really starting to climb this bridge, and this bridge is going to take us to I'm going to say May 2021. But we need to cross this bridge. There's no way. So we need protection to cross it. We need as GPs, I think it's a very important element and an interesting thing to chat about on this call is how much GPs are responsible for managing the overall timings on a production, and the collaboration between GPs and ADs, not because I want to save time necessarily for production overall. I want to I want to have time enough. I want to be organized enough so I have time to light my setups. So the pressure reduces over my creative time. So what you're saying is we gonna have to keep doing that. So technical solutions just to make our lives a little bit easier to manage inside that circle around camera, because we know it's going to be very complicated. So yeah, I mean, what am I going to do to be able to improvise, be able to be creative, be able to still communicate with my director? It's very challenging. It really is. I think we're going to learn little by little by shooting commercials, because, if you can shoot 2-3 days, on a single location with a crew of 20 people. Studio. Yeah. And then, or a studio. So we're going to really learn, I think, little by little. Yeah. But
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I insist that now that, let's say, whatever, the CSC, the BSC, the ASC, and the makeup artists and the designers and almost all the departments are coming with guidelines. So now they're all in place. We now have to wait for the actors. We have to wait for actors and their agents to say how they want to play. Then we're going to have to...
Shooting with the animals, the thing that I kind of developed was I have a super rickshaw, which we put the Ronin on it. And I just have a dolly grip pushing the rickshaw. So, I mean, that is today is the thing. I mean, just I'll have a grip with the HMEs and whatever, and we just talk and they move forward and we do the shots and they're alone. Everything is remote. Everything is remote controlled. I mean, these are solutions that right now on a short-term basis we have to find, because or else we cannot shoot. I mean, everybody's going to wonder anyway. We're talking cinematography, but we're talking technical. So there's one question, Adriano. This how's it? Can you tell us about the differences of working in Brazil, moving to international production, and now to working in London?
I can. Although I don't want to be too academic in a sense by saying, well, there's major differences. And look, I grew up in Brazil. I had a long trajectory working from, like small production companies into the big Brazilian networks. I was like a freelance on sports program for a local network. So it's a very rich in terms of like all the experiences I had in theater, in television, and then I started. Then things started to get a little bit bigger. You get to know people, and then when I started DPing my first documentary videos and small commercials, and so you learn under a specific culture, of course, and I think the main element of that industry is you have to deal with low budget productions. We had in the 80s and 90s very expensive commercials to shoot, to exercise and to use the best equipment, etc. But then then next weekend when I'm shooting my short film with my friend, this young director, I'm not going to have any of this. So you have to be super creative, super inventive in a sense, if you want to, or innovative or bold or groundbreaking or something. It feels like there's a specific pressure. If you want to stand out, it's not going to be because you have a good budget. It has to be because you have a good script, or because you're creative, or you're showing something new. So I think the capacity to improvise and to play with minimum resources, it's a school. I really think it's a school. I think you learn to complain less. You learn to prep better. You learn to compensate the tools you don't have by improvising, by actually creating tools. And I think I was very fortunate when I did my first feature abroad was in Mexico, was Sin Nombre. And the way we shot Sin Nombre was kind of, I'm going to say, very similar to the way I had just shot City of Men, the feature. So I shot City of Men in 2006, and I was doing a series for HBO in 2007 when I got the script for Sin Nombre. And right away I said, look, this is something I know how to do. Of course, I don't know this guy. I haven't been to Mexico yet. I'm going to have to build and connect to the local people and, etc. So the anxiety was much more about creating a net in Mexico. I mean, who's going to be my gaffer? Am I going to be lucky and find the right guy, right, for my first feature abroad? And I was actually very lucky. So I think I was very anxious about that, much more about building a crew than actually the challenge, because I knew I was going to have to go handheld. I was going to have to light through windows, shoot on locations. And that was very much the game I was playing by then.
Yeah.
The Crown, of course, is different. Jane Eyre was different. Working with Bradley Cooper on Burnt, then you go little by little, stepping up and learning how to play with the big names and how to prep yourself much better. You always have an answer, you know, for the questions they ask, even if the answer is I don't know. But like there's, yeah, I think the role, your role as a GP changes depending on where you are, the language you're speaking, and the culture you're working on. But there's also similarities. It doesn't, regardless of where you are, right? So you are the GP, you know your responsibilities, you know you're supposed to have a taste, you're supposed to help the blocking and the coverage. You're supposed to think more or less like an editor sometimes, more or less like an AD sometimes. That doesn't change much. That's everywhere, I think, right? Yeah.
Well, it's I guess it's it does resemble a lot Quebec. I mean, Quebec is we don't have necessarily all of the high budgets, but we do actually try to gain a lot of stuff with the creativity that we have. I mean, that's the thing that we're trying to do. And there was one question with the documentary that we shot. You have to understand with Adriano that we needed to be a small crew to have access on at Netflix. So it was myself and Jean-Sébastien, my cameraman. We were only two. And GS, I mean, I was putting my microphone and stuff, and we were just, because we could not bring a lot of people on the set. And we were shooting with we had the Canon C300 that I love. I just basically love that little camera. I love that the granularity of this camera. It just resembles more film than any, I mean, in the small cameras.
And I love the video you made, Serge. Thank you. It's very good. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
And I made me so nostalgic now just to see my guys and look, you see images like those, and I don't want to go back to COVID too much, but you ask yourself, I mean, if it changes too much, you know, anyway.
Well, you see, like for me in the last 2 years, funnily, I've been working a lot to become more remote. I mean, I have the HMEs, the headsets, you know, with the run-in, remote controlling the camera, cable cams, working a lot with cable cams, the rickshaw, everything has got to be today basically remote, I guess, and which for me somewhere these feature films that I've been shooting in the last 2 years basically brought me like I'm gonna show you because I love this. This is for me one of the best stories that exists in 2020. They'll love me talking about this, but this is the gaffer's control. It's basically, you see how tiny this is, and with this, I mean, I speak with my best boy or the gaffer, whatever, and it's all lumen radio, the Astera tubes, the sky panels, everything is controlled from this little box, which we don't have to connect. I know that in the studios you connect with the computer and everything, but when you're on location, sometimes it's hard to get the whole shebang or the whole thing in the house or whatever. And this, I mean, this is for me is you just control everything, and that I enjoy that remote thing.
There's one thing about yes, you're right, and you ask on the video if I do operate. I don't operate on the ground, so there's my station, let's say, my technical exposure monitors. They're usually or almost always by or beside the director's monitor. So my station is not actually on set with the cameras. It's a little bit further away with the 2 exposure monitors and 2 iris control handsets. So although I'm not operating, I'm taking care of the exposure myself based on, you know, the references I have with me there. So in that sense, yes, working remotely is fine. The only thing in my case is, not only my case, but my case certainly, is that I'm absolutely obsessed about eye light, the sparkle in the eye. And so that can actually come from a window, so it's less controllable. But like, there's always an additional source that I bring into set. Sometimes it's the Hudson Spider, sometimes it's a much smaller source just for the eyes. But I want to play with that source. Usually it's me playing. So the gaffer brings it in, and he knows already, my good friend Andy Long, he knows already that I really love playing with those, you know, sources. And so he brings and I come in and really adjust with the actor. Can you look this way a little bit? So that also gives me offers me time with the cast, you know, close time together. So that, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it unless instead of staying with the director like I've been, I change my circle and bring my monitors to the core of the set, just behind camera. So somehow I authorize myself to be on the smallest of the circles. So therefore, I might, let's say, hopefully, be authorized to touch a dado light or a small light source. So, but that's all to be negotiated with that specific crew, that health and safety person. So look, this is what I do. Please, I need to be able to play with not only my cameras and lenses, but my lights. I mean, I love playing with my dado lights. So.
Oh, well, I love the Aladdin lights also, because the Aladdin lights are so, like, you can put them anywhere. They're so lightweight and stuff. I mean, anyway, I understand with the basher light, the key, the sparkle little star.
So just going back to your the feature film you're just waiting to restart. So you told me about the zooms. So you actually changed the lens package that you had before.
Yeah.
So on the same project, adapting to the new normal.
Well,
right.
Yeah, we had the Masters Anamorphics, and now we're going with the Fujinon zoom. So basically, yes, it is a drastic change, but
you think you're gonna have to reshoot what you? No,
we cannot reshoot. Right. We're shooting with live animals. We've been filming this 18-month evolution of a baby lion and a baby wolf growing up in a cottage, who actually they become friends and they become like brothers, and sometime in the storyline it will become very much complicated because the lion will weigh 325 pounds in a cottage. So I mean, it's obvious that something's going to go wrong. So that's the story of the movie that I'm shooting.
Wow. But with humans
Absolutely.
as well.
No. They don't talk. The animals don't talk. They just live. But we have actors that talk, and it's a fiction thing. Yeah, it's a real movie.
So do you have a date for your return?
Well, we're talking June right now. We're talking June, so we'll see. We'll see if June works out. And you know, even though on this, that's where my remote list of everything that I've been working on in the last couple of years brought me in this project, which we lit the whole house remote. I mean, I just speak and just say, okay, watch out, we're dollying left, just, you know, bring up the sky panel a bit higher or whatever. And so we're basically, the lights are changing constantly while we are shooting in that house. So which is really nice to have, because or else the animals are free and they will go wherever they gotta go, which we never know. So it's a complicated, very much complicated movie.
Wow. And how many months you still have ahead?
Well, it's basically, it's a 72 days of shooting feature film, but it's on an 18-month period.
Right.
And then we go in for 5 days because it's autumn, whatever, it's fall with the nice leaves and everything. And I love drone also. I mean, I got the Inspire. I fly the drones. I got all the permits.
You do?
Permit. Oh yeah, I go crazy. I gotta fly it.
Can you teach me?
The permits.
Can you teach me?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. The thing is,
it's fun to fly the drones, especially if you know the language of cinematography, because you will
So they
not
don't look.
fly.
So they look like a helicopter shot, right?
That's it. They won't fly like a kid playing a video game shot. You know, it's just really dolly in, boom down kind of thing, pan left, very subtle. And that's for me. That's if the drone shot looks like a crane shot, I mean, wow, okay, we did something great. That's it.
That's what we try. That's what we try on the Crown.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question that just came up? Because I'm aware somehow, but I'm not. Don't know how much I know about this, but I know there has been historically a very close relationship between Canada and America in terms of, you know, shooting films together, and, you know, how many East Coast productions come to Toronto and West Coast productions go to Vancouver, etc. Do you think that's going to increase now? Do you think there will be more American productions coming to Canada?
You know, last
Because it's
year,
safer, because it's
well,
safer and it's beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, but I have to say, I think last year at the ASC Awards, I think there were like on 10 productions, there were 7 Canadian productions. So, which is very good for Canada and us, the CSC members. And it's good to basically know that Canada is actually able to maintain and do whatever the American films want to do. So there are talks right now of projects coming to Canada, but then again, it's not easy. I don't know if it's going to help us. I don't know if it's going to ruin us. I don't know if
That's a good point. Yeah.
but is it? I mean, nobody knows right now kind of anything. That's the thing. I mean, you think if you think the same way that we used to been thinking, it's not it, because everything that you think today will not be decided, will be decided a totally different way. And that's
And
the
also, we are still using the references we have. We don't have other references. That's what we have. That's the industry we know, or that was the industry we knew. So, but there isn't a new one yet,
no,
right? So, yeah.
not yet.
That's
I'm
why
shooting,
we're all so anxious and feeling, I mean, not only as filmmakers, I mean, what is out there for us? I mean, how is the next year going to be, not only for filmmakers but for everybody?
confined in the studio, confined in a hotel, shooting on location. Everybody
Yeah.
is staying on location. The film with the Wolf and the Lion is on location, which is an easy film for everybody. It's kind of you know, like it's 3 hours away from here and whatever up north, and so that's I think that's
So
what
once you go, let's say when you go next,
yeah.
it's going to be for a couple of days, right?
No, it's actually for if it starts for 30, 37, 38 days.
And then you don't come back home. I mean, that sort of isolation is
Isolation.
required.
We're all
Right.
going to stay there, and they want to shoot 6 days per week or whatever, because yeah, they want to shrink
Mhm.
that, and yeah, so that's going to be it. Yeah. I guess. Well, would you have anything else to say, Adriano? We didn't speak much about cinematography, color timing, and whatever. But,
Well, we know now that an hour 45 just flies by, and
yeah, and we have the
but
video.
I'm so honored. I mean, that's what I want to say. I mean, I don't even deserve like this whole work about what I do. I mean, I really appreciate, I really do, and I think we're now all turning into communicators, and which is also an interesting thing for me. It's still kind of very painful to have to watch myself speaking in English because I'm too. But it's lovely that we can. I mean, I don't think we were gonna have I don't know, I saw you a year ago. I was probably going to see you again next year at, you know, at the ASC or somewhere else. I mean, you were trying actually to bring me to Canada. I hope that still happens quite soon. But I think we're keeping ourselves connected. I think we are feeding ourselves with information and kindness and tenderness and positive thoughts, which is, you know, I think the most important thing to be done right now. Because as I told you, I think we can try to be prepped for what comes next, but it's not only about us, right? So we have to understand, you know, the insurance company world and the SAG and the actors and the agents and the authors. I mean, there's so much going on. What's kind of sad is that the only thing is because Netflix and Amazon and Disney and these guys are ready. They have the money. They're absolutely ready to not only help the industry to come back, but the whole society, right? That money coming back very quickly to the market is really, really important. It was really important in 2008, 2009, the entertainment industry and how much that money helped the whole economy. But the fact is now it's not just a matter of intention. I mean, we have the money, but how and when we can spend it. So it's so narrow now, you know, the room to play that anyway, but hopefully we are all right. And in 1 year, we're going to have a vaccine. We're going to be able to hug again, because that's my main concern.
And my kids will want to screen another series of something, because right now, I guess they screened everything possible on Netflix and Amazon and Crave and whatever, all of the medias that we have. I mean, it's crazy. So for sure, we need more and more content, and we're there to shoot it, to make it work. I mean, that would be great.
Well, but this is content, isn't it? We are right now producing content, and I really hope that people somehow use this and learn and get connected and, you know, get back to us with more questions. And
you know that I tried. I mean, I had 3 meetings with Netflix with this series because I tried to get this as a series, but finally it did not work. But anyway, because it will.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
I gave up.
Serge, Jeremy is reminding you something. Next week is Kristen Fieldhouse and Claudine Sauve.
Claudine Sauve. Yes.
Sauve.
Next week, yes, Claudine Sauve, CSC, Kristen Fieldhouse, an associate.
Sorry, Claudine.
She's great.
Sauve.
She's a real great DP from Quebec. She's, she's awesome. And Christine also. They both are superb. Yeah, it's nice.
I'm gonna watch it. When is that? What's the date and time?
Next week at 12 again, Eastern time.
And who's the mediator?
They're both like us.
Oh, fine.
Christine,
yeah, right.
Christine includes in. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cinematography.
Not gonna miss it.
Well.
And I really hope to be able to come to you guys, and so we can have dinner, or even to come for the CSC awards. And I really hope that we stay together more and more and just help each other.
We had people that was willing to help us to help us so that you could come to Canada. So if this works out, Sony is giving us a good hand, and also Mel's Studio is giving us a very super post-production facility here in Montreal, which is actually helping us for you to come. So I mean, if that can work, that will be a nice conference or whatever on cinematography, and we'll probably have
I shot a feature film in Vancouver. We've never talked about it, right? The company you keep, with Robert Redford, directed by Robert Redford.
Yeah.
In 2012. Yeah, I loved it. I really loved it. Yeah, but now I need to go to Montreal, Quebec. You know, I've been to Toronto very quickly. I really need to go back to Canada.
Shout out any links for how people can contact you.
Oh yeah, we could. Well, how
Oh,
people can
Instagram is just Adriano Goldman altogether. Same on Facebook, but I'm not on Twitter. I'm not, yeah, but I'm reachable anyway. Facebook and Instagram mainly. Yeah.
And for myself, I guess it's easy. It's a Serge Desrosiers. Serge Desrosiers in French, and that's it.
Di Rosa.
Sì. Io non falo português.
But there's that's even that I saw on your IMDb. Have you seen it? There's one of your credits. Of course, you saw it. It says as Serge Di Rosa.
Yes, Serge de Rosa. Yes,
Yeah.
Serge, yeah. We were trying something, which is this because it's
But yeah,
hard to say my name and for the American industry or whatever. So De Rosa is my AKA. So sometimes they call me De Rosa, which is
well,
good.
Adriano is more or less the same. Yeah, that's why for the last few years, you know, the crew member calls me, or they usually call me AG. It's much more American or English, yeah, in a sense. And it's shorter. And also, you know, as much as I do, on all the paperwork, you need a tag. You turn into a tag, right? So, like Stephen Daldry is SD, Ben Karen is BC, and I turned AG, and then it's been AG since. Yeah.
AG since. Well, thank you very much, AG. I guess we're done.
Guys, Serge, Jeremy, all of you guys, Christina, thank you very much. I apologize again for being late a few minutes. Was my mistake, really. I got it wrong, the timings. But I really love this. Count on me for another one. I'm happy to be with you guys. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much and enjoy London.
Thank you.
Have a great beer somewhere in the Super Club one day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Very honored.
Ciao.
Very happy. Thank you very much. Bye. Ciao, ciao.